The proposed project section is one of the most important sections in the application. Let's break it down into 5 parts. A summary of the project, whether or not the company may or will leave the state or terminate employees absent the award of a tax credit, whether or not the project will occur in a high poverty and or high unemployment area, questions about the future employees and investments, and the amount of tax credit requested. Now that we have seen the topics covered in this section, we'll go over each one in detail. Please describe the proposed project. The field allows up to 7,000 characters. For your reference, 7,000 characters is approximately 2 typed pages. It is helpful to copy and paste your description from a Word document. Before we begin writing, we first need to understand what's a project. The definition of a project is the applicant's proposed business venture that will result in increased employment and/or investments in California. What does this mean exactly? In other words, what your business does and is going to do in exchange for the tax credit. Specifically, how will the tax credit influence your company's ability or willingness to create new full-time jobs and make investments in California? Let's run through a couple examples of a project. Project 1. I am a sole proprietor who provides professional coaching and leadership development to small businesses and technology startups in the Central Valley. Demand has been growing recently and I need a couple of new employees, an additional leadership coach, and a full-time administrative assistant. I plan to hire the coach next year and the administrative assistant 3 years from now. Also, each employee will need a desk, chair, phone, and computer. I have a special way of doing things that has proven successful. I will need to spend at least 6 to 9 months training my new coach in my methods. That means during this training period, he or she will not be generating any income from my business. My tax credit request of $50,000 will cover the fully loaded costs of the new coach during the 9-month training period. Without this credit, I am not sure that I will be able to afford to bring on this new person. If all goes well, the new coach will generate enough new revenue in year 2 to cover his or her position, and in year 3, enable me to hire the full-time administrative assistant. Project 2. About 5 years ago, my husband and I started a trophy manufacturing business. He was coaching our daughter's softball team and was surprised to see that all of the trophies given to the team at the end of the year were imported from outside of the United States. So that summer, we took a chance and purchased a small facility in an industrial neighborhood. Since that time, we have not only secured a 10-year contract to supply the trophies for our town's Little League baseball and softball teams, but we have also been approached by other communities that currently buy their trophies from overseas. We want to grow our company and hire more local, full-time employees, but do not have the space at our current location to do so. We would like to buy a second location in the next few years. The new location will need proper ventilation, lighting, manufacturing equipment, desks, chairs, computers, phones, a server, and tenant improvements to modify the space for our needs. We intend to hire at least 15, but hopefully as many as 30 employees to work at the new branch. While we have secured an SBA loan for the new facility, we are not sure we can afford the monthly payments for the facility and new equipment. We are requesting a $240,000 credit, which will cover approximately the monthly finance payments for 2 years, by which time the new facility should be up and running, and generating enough revenue to meet all of our operational costs, including the salaries and benefits for our new employees. A good project summary will answer these questions. What does your business do? In other words, what products or services do you offer? Where is it located? What is the growth plan for your business? Keeping in mind that CalCompetes was created to stimulate the creation of high-quality, full-time jobs, how will the tax credit be a factor in your business's ability or willingness to implement this project? And last, this list is not exclusive. Please include any information that would make your project stand out. Let's go back to our example company, Widget Manufacturing, and see what it wrote in its project summary. We are a small widget manufacturer located in the city of Anonymous. For the last 5 years, we have steadily increased our customer base. We have started getting orders from customers in neighboring counties and need to expand our manufacturing and delivery capacity. Award of this credit will enable us to purchase more efficient manufacturing equipment and 3 new delivery vehicles. Tied to this investment, we will hire 3 full-time hourly employees and a full-time salaried manager. In its project summary, there are certain things that Widget did well, but there are also areas where Widget could improve. Let's look at what Widget did right. Widget did a good job addressing most of the questions we look for. It identified what its business does and where it is located. It described its growth plan over the next few years. And finally, it explained that the tax credit would enable the business to invest in additional equipment and delivery vehicles. Now let's go over the areas where Widget could improve. Compared to the first two examples, we can see that Widget's summary is much less detailed. Most importantly, although Widget does mention that the tax credit would help the purchase of additional equipment and delivery vehicles, it does not explain how exactly it helps. The first two examples went into specifics about how the amount of tax credit requested is directly a factor in the ability to implement their projects. Now that we have filled out the project summary, we need to select the best description of the project from the four options. This is a growth project for an applicant located in California. This is a project for an out-of-state applicant coming to California, a relocation within California, or a retention-only project. Next, we must answer no, yes, or it may to the following two questions. If the answer is yes or it may to at least one of the two questions, your business will move into Phase 2 of our evaluation process automatically. In Phase 2, the president, owner, or high-ranking officer is required to sign a declaration under penalty of perjury that these statements are true. The following question asks if at least 75% of your new full-time jobs will work in a high poverty and/or high unemployment area. Cities and counties whose unemployment rate or poverty rate is 150% or more of the statewide average meet this definition. You do not have to do the calculation. Prior to the start of each application period, GO-Biz determines which cities and counties meet this requirement and posts the list to our website. Click this link to see a list of all cities and counties that qualify as a high poverty and/or high unemployment area. Similar to the questions above, if you mark yes to this question, you will advance into Phase 2 automatically. For this next portion, please answer yes or no to the 5 questions listed. The final question asks for the total amount of California Competes tax credit requested. A common question we receive is, how much did I ask for? The simplest answer to this question is that you should ask for the amount of credit that your company needs over a 5-year period to complete the project. Being able to explain why the amount of credit you ask for is critical to your project success makes your application more competitive in the evaluation process. To provide guidance on how much to ask for, we provide 2 resources on our website. Question 4 of the FAQ document provides a list of the Phase 1 cutoff ratios for each application period. This ratio is calculated using a cost-benefit equation. The equation is the amount of credit that you request divided by the sum of the aggregate employee compensation and aggregate investment. Aggregate employee compensation can be found at the bottom of the employee section, and aggregate investment can be found at the bottom of the investment section. Any ratio that was equal to or lower than the cutoff shown here moved forward into Phase 2. And every company whose ratio was greater than the cutoff did not advance, unless they applied under the retention-only category, checked one of the absent award boxes discussed earlier in this section, or checked the box indicating that 75% of the new full-time jobs that they are proposing to create will occur in an area of high poverty and/or high unemployment. For example, if a small business had a ratio of 0.1801, the company would have advanced in the rounds marked by the green arrows, but would not have moved forward in the rounds marked by the red arrows. Although the ratios change from one application period to another, this chart can give you some guidance about what the California Competes program has seen in the past. Additionally, the awardee lists show every business that has received a tax credit through our program. The information shown includes the name and location of the company, industry type, net increase in full-time employees, amount of investment, and award amount. Feel free to browse the list and compare your company to the ones that have been awarded in the past.